Now, of course, our field is not completely finished yet. We still have a couple to nail down in place, but thanks to the easy use Andy Mark field guide, we are coming along with that.
Giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
First Updates Now is supported by Kettering University. On average, Kettering students earn $45,000 to $70,000 over the course of their co-op program to help them graduate debt-free. 99% of students qualify for a merit scholarship, and you can apply for one of the 80-plus FIRST scholarships worth up to $25,000 each. If you are a U.S. student grades 8 through 12, scan the QR code to stay up to date on info and events happening at Kettering and get a free Kettering t-shirt when you sign up by December 12, 2021.
I think we can start some of our major scoring areas, our shipping hubs.
Yeah, sounds like a plan.
So, as you would know from the game reveal, probably the bulk of your scoring is going to be done here on your Alliance-specific shipping hub. We have a Red Alliance shipping hub and a Blue Alliance shipping hub. There's also a shared shipping hub by your warehouses. As we discussed, the freight is placed on your shipping hub, and there are various, throughout the match, throughout Autumn, different bonuses you can get for what level. We know a big one in Autumn is going to be able to figure where that duck or your team's created freight piece is, and in turn use that, if it's in first, second, or third, to put on the first, second, or third level of your Alliance shipping hub. I think that's going to be something I'm interested to see in the gameplay during this season, how teams are going to be able to detect that duck and put that there. And then we know there's a bonus at the end of the match for balancing your shipping hub out. So there's going to have to be a good deal of strategy, as you've got 3 different weights for your freight pieces, and one the wrong way, heavy one up too high, light one down too low, can easily throw off your balance. Just right now we can see we've got some heavy ones down there that are tossing up to the wrong side, but so that's going to be a big issue for teams, I think, is trying to get this balanced, and you've got to take into account everything that goes on there and the height it goes on there.
Exactly. So, as you can see here, another thing that I wanted to mention for sure, it kind of seemed to me when I was watching the video like we weren't going to be able to fit too many pieces of freight on the actual shipping hubs, but you can kind of see a pretty good idea here. That's a decent amount of freight on the top of the shipping hub even. So you're going to be able to fit a decent amount if you really try to go for that. So I don't think it's going to be a crazy problem having to find spaces to fit everything, but at that, it's still something to pay attention to. Like Cole was mentioning, with the balance, you do have some leeway. I think we tried it out so that when you have one of the heavy weighted ones on the side of the top, that in itself is not weighing it down in the wrong direction. But as you get farther out, that'll kind of weigh it down. So you do have a little bit of leeway, but as you get scoring into the larger numbers, you're definitely going to have to pay attention to where on the shipping hub you are placing your freight. So that's going to be a big piece of the actual driver-controlled period and how you approach that strategy.
Teams also want to take careful account of accidentally nudging your shipping hub. That will incur penalties. So you want to be pretty precise when you're putting things on here and just navigating the field. You don't want any part of your robot accidentally kicking this to one side or the other. You don't want to incur any penalties from that.
And especially with the balancing as well. If you knock this just a little bit, it's going to be kind of difficult to get back up. So you don't want to control the shipping hub itself, so you're going to have to very strategically place this freight to make sure that you are correctly balancing it to get those points in the end.
Going into balance again, we have our shared shipping hub at the warehouses back here. Shared shipping hub is only one level, but that balancing does come into play at the end of the match where you don't want this thing balanced. If you're on one alliance or the other, you want your shared shipping hub tipped to your end to get penalty. Not to get a penalty, sorry, to get a bonus point. You want the bonus points by tipping it over to your end, but as you can see right now, we've got some of our heavyweights on here. There's probably going to have to be a lot of game pieces put over here to tip it one way or the other, and I think there's going to be a good battle from each side trying to tip it their side or the other.
Exactly. Want to move over to our carousel?
We can move over to our carousels, definitely. Our carousel, thank you, Luke. Our carousel is going to be coming in throughout the match for First off, in Auton, when there will be a duck starting on your carousel or your team's own design shipping piece. Obviously, the carousel is going to be some sort of mechanism on your robot needed to come over here and push this off. And I see a lot of potential penalties with the carousel. If you look close at your rulebook, you see you can't contact the top of it, and you cannot contact the bottom of it. You're only allowed to touch this edge rim here to spin it around. So teams should be very careful about how they're spinning this. Another thing to take into account is your drive team loading these ducks onto the carousel. They have to wait for the carousel to have completely stopped before loading an additional game piece on here. That's another big potential for penalties. In the heat of a match, you're rushing through, it's still spinning, put one on, penalty.
Exactly. I guess a little bit further, this may not quite influence your design as much, but something that we thought was interesting was the place that you put the duck on the carousel. So you're going to have to kind of decide how quickly you're going to spin this carousel, and then as far as the actual mechanical part of the challenge, but then also for the human part of the challenge and where the human player is placing the duck on the carousel is going to matter a bit. So if you have this on the outside and you start spinning this carousel, if you go a little bit too quickly, it can fall off, and you obviously don't want that. But if you put it a little bit on the inside, you still spin it, works out fine. But we found that when you are on the inside here, it's going to take more turning right there. Now, whether that's going to be something big, we will have to do the math on and completely decide where our strategy will take us there. But at the time being, maybe somewhere in the middle is a safe bet. Just like that. And on top of that, we have had some interesting ideas. Maybe you can keep the duck on the outside, spin a little bit slower, and then spin it kind of quickly at the end to throw it off. So if you have a better ability to stop with your motor and you can kind of just throw it like that, use inertia, and then let the duck go, then that might save you a little bit of time. But those are things that we are going to investigate in the future.
And you should also keep in mind, whenever you're taking something off the carousel with your robot, the rules state that it has to touch the floor before your robot's in control of it. So you can't drive up and catch that. That will incur a penalty. I think now we can some general things that we thought might be of concern. One main thing is the barriers on the field that are made out of these pipes that your robot will have to drive over if you want to get to your shared hub or towards your warehouse. We think that this is going to come into play during a lot of designing of robots. You want to make sure your wheels are going to be able to give you the traction to get up over here, and you don't want to get stuck in between here, and you don't want to not be able to get over here. You don't have a whole lot of space to squeeze through on the side. Some people might be able to do that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So a lot of design in mind, and clearance is definitely going to be the name of the game, especially for those fast cycles. So definitely something to consider, and we will see how these challenges are going to affect the way that we approach a situation and overall design the architecture of our robot. I think that is most of what we've got going for the field here as far as actual scoring objectives. So Cole, unless you got something else to add?
I think that covers the field pretty well.
Thanks to Kettering University for their support of this video. Don't just sit in class. Kettering University is the only school in the U.S. that allows you to work as an engineer your first year with their 3-month on, 3-month off co-op programs. If you are a U.S. student grades 8 through 12, scan the QR code to stay up to date on info and events happening at Kettering and get a free Kettering t-shirt when you sign up by December 12th, 2021. Thank you to AndyMark, GoBuilda, and Rev Robotics for providing components and giveaways to the Bulldogs Robot in 30 Hours team. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to stay up to date on our new videos. Keep the conversation going and provide your input to our content. Watch our live shows at twitch.tv/firstupdatesnow. Join our Discord at discord.gg/firstupdatesnow, and check out Fun FTC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and First Updates Now on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter.